Hello and welcome to BBC World News. And our top story today, in the UK, the Prime Minister, Rishi Sunak, has been issued with a fixed penalty notice by police for not wearing a seatbelt in a moving car. Mr Sunak had previously apologised for what he called a brief error of judgment in a social media video as he carried out a series of visits in the north of England on Thursday. Well, earlier, Lancashire police said it had issued a 42-year-old man in London with a conditional offer of a fixed penalty. Our political correspondent, David Wallace-Lockhart, told us more about the background to the story.
So, of course, Rishi Sunak was yesterday going across the north of England because he was announcing levelling up funding, so essentially government funding that was going to specific projects in different parts of the UK. And as part of him trying to get the government's message out about this, he recorded a video he posted on Instagram. The video featured him in the back of the car talking about why he was visiting Lancashire. Now, in the video, he didn't have his seatbelt on. Many people picked up on this, and it was put to the Prime Minister's official spokesman, who said that he fully accepted it was a mistake and apologised, and they called it a brief error of judgment, explaining that he only took off his seatbelt to film the video. But we did hear that Lancashire police were looking into it, and this evening they announced that they had decided it was worthy of a fixed penalty notice, a fine for not wearing the seatbelt. That's something Rishi Sunak could have decided to challenge, but has said that he accepts and will be paying the fine. We've heard that from Number 10 in the last 10-15 minutes. Of course, problematic on a couple of fronts for Rishi Sunak. Number one, he wanted this visit that he took part in yesterday to be all about the fact that the government was giving money to projects across the UK, but of course here we are a little over 24 hours on talking about the fact he's been fined for not wearing a seatbelt. And secondly, this is the second fine that Rishi Sunak has had in the past year because, of course, when he was Chancellor, he did get a fine as part of, if you remember, Partygate, those gatherings that took place in Downing Street during COVID, when there was meant to be restrictions in place around gatherings. He was fined over one of those meetings he attended that had some party food around for Boris Johnson's birthday. So the second fine that Rishi Sunak will have to pay for a fixed penalty notice within 12 months.
OK, David, just to add here, we're just getting news from a Number 10 spokesperson said that the Prime Minister will pay the fine issued by Lancashire Constabulary. It was an offer made by the police. And the statement goes on to say, and fully accepts this was a mistake and has apologised. So that's the latest that's come from Number 10. I wonder if we could move on to the next point this evening. There is, of course, another Cabinet Minister who is under pressure to resign. What can you tell us about that? That's
right. So this is Nadhim Zahawi, who is the chairman of the Conservative Party, and as part of that role he gets to attend Cabinet. And there have been some questions around Nadhim Zahawi, who used to be Chancellor while Boris Johnson was Prime Minister, some questions about his tax affairs. Now, before Nadhim Zahawi entered politics, he was a very successful businessman, and one of his ventures was co-founding the polling company YouGov. And the questions that are circling him at the moment are about whether or not he tried to avoid paying tax by using an offshore company to hold shares in YouGov. Now, The Sun reported on Sunday that Mr Zahawi had agreed to make a seven-figure sum payment to the tax authorities to settle a dispute. And there's been more reports that have come out today in The Guardian saying that part of that included paying a penalty, taking the total tax bill, they report, to almost £5 million. Now, we have not been able to verify these claims, but Mr Zahawi's spokesperson has not denied reports of a tax settlement. He has been asked about today about the latest claim of a penalty, but has so far not responded. Previously, the BBC was told that Mr Zahawi's taxes are properly declared and paid in the UK. Now remember, as we said, Mr Zahawi did have a brief stint as Chancellor over the summer, where Boris Johnson had announced he was resigning but stayed in office for a few months. He was Education Secretary before that. He still attends Cabinet. Certainly an awkward position for him, and the Labour Party are trying to pile up the pressure. They are calling for Mr Zahawi to go, saying his story doesn't add up. And I think we can expect the opposition to keep up that pressure going into the weekend.
And that was David Wallace-Lockhart there.